This is episode 25 of the A Free Spirit Life podcast. Hey there, it's Shannon. Thanks so much for being here. I'm a holistic life and spiritual coach, yoga teacher, and mom to 3 boys, and the creator of afreespiritlife.com. I'm so happy you're here today. This is another short episode. I also want to tell you, for those of you who love this podcast, be on the lookout for new shows this fall. I've got lots of great interviews lined up for you. So it's going to be exciting. Make sure to subscribe to this show and look out for new interviews coming your way soon. Kids are back in school. We're into the second week now, so kind of feeling the flow of new routine. Not as sad that summer's over, but actually looking forward to fall. It's always a fun time of year. The show today is about your thoughts, about how we tend to be victims of the thoughts we think. And I'm going to share a couple of really practical tips that you can start doing today that will help you really break free of your negative thought patterns. So often we are thinking thoughts we don't even know we think, and we repeat these thoughts over and over and over again, and we become attached to these thoughts, so much so that we think we are those thoughts. And an example is, for years and years, I used to repeat to myself, I'm not good at anything, I'm not good enough, I'm not doing enough, I don't have enough. It was always this lack mentality. And it wasn't until I discovered yoga years and years ago that I realized, or that I learned, I was not my thoughts. That my thoughts were those, just that, thoughts. The nature of our mind is to think. And I thought I was those thoughts. And so everything that I saw was through that filter, was through the perspective of lack. And so when you learn that you are not those thoughts, that you think, especially the negative ones that tend to bring you down or to give you this limited perspective on your life will change forever. It really is a life-changing concept. And so today, think about your own thoughts. Do you even know what you're thinking? Do you even know that you're not those thoughts that you repeat over and over again? What are the thoughts that repeat? Especially when you're triggered, when you're in a challenge, or when you fail at something, or you make a mistake, or you're feeling stressed and overwhelmed. What happens in those moments? The practice is to become an observer of your thoughts, to understand that the nature of the mind is to think, that you have a lot of thoughts that you've carried with you throughout your life that may no longer serve a purpose, that may be bringing you down, that may be keeping you stuck. So here are a few of my simple tips that you can start to become an observer of those thoughts. The first thing is to think of yourself as a witness or a backseat driver, and you're going to simply watch your thoughts take place. It's a weird concept. It's like you're watching a movie and you're sitting in one of the seats. And if you've never done this before, it will seem strange to you at first. But there is an observer in there already, because you talk to yourself in your head all the time. You know, we're always labeling things, we're always judging things, we're always wondering or worried about what other people are thinking or doing, or why did she look at me that way? You know, we're always talking to ourselves in our head anyway. But you, the true you, is not the thought. The thought is simply that, a thought. So sit back and become an observer of those thoughts. Now, when you start to practice this more often, you'll see that your thoughts become habitual and repetitive and constant. There is mind chatter, especially in this crazy busy life we live. We're constantly chatting away in our heads. And so watch those thoughts float by. I like to envision that the thoughts are clouds. Watch them float in and then watch them float out without attaching to them. And then with kindness, can you observe the thoughts and simply say, isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting that I was feeling pretty good and I spilled coffee all over my pants and then I told myself I was an idiot and I never do anything right and now I feel bad about myself. Isn't that interesting that I do that? And simply watch and reflect with a curious mind. And this practice, like I said, if you've never done it, will seem strange in the beginning. But it is a practice, and it's like retraining your thoughts. But instead of judging yourself and calling yourself a name for having those thoughts to begin with, really keep that curious, kind response, which is simply, isn't that interesting? And see what you start to learn about yourself. That is gaining greater self-awareness. There is self-discovery in this. You will learn so much about what triggers you and what is causing a lot of the worry and anxiety that's going on in your mind. Another great tip is as you become an observer and you realize that you're having these thoughts, especially the negative ones, you can stop yourself in mid-sentence and simply say with kindness, I do not need to think this thought. It's like a record player and you're taking the record needle. I'm sure some of you are too young to even know what a record player is. Okay, but you get the concept. You are stopping the song midstream. You're stopping the thought as it's happening. So you spill your coffee on your pants. Now you're feeling embarrassed. You want to say, what an idiot, but then you stop. I do not need to think this thought. I do not need to think this thought. And the advanced practice, after you start to stop yourself, is to find a mantra, an affirmation, a positive statement to replace the negative one. And that is something that I'll go over more in detail in my free workshop, Live Freely. If you're listening to this when the show comes out, August 23rd, 2018 at 1:30 p.m. Central, I'm offering a free live workshop. If you haven't already, go to afreespiritlife.com and click free workshop and sign up. It is free, but you do need to sign up to receive the recording of the live workshop if you can't make it there live. Also, if you're listening to the show way beyond that time, go to my website and look up free workshop. Click on there because I'm always offering new and different free things for you. So it may not be live, but it may still be available. We are going to go over practical and powerful tips for learning how to break free of anxiety and overwhelm so that you can feel like you're creating a more authentic, empowered, and intentional life. So often, we're living in chaos and stress because of the thoughts we continually and habitually think about. Worry is future-based thinking. So if you have the mindset of what if this happens? What if that happens? What if I never make enough money? What if I don't get enough in my retirement? What if they don't hire me? What if I don't get enough clients next month? Whatever the what ifs, what if my child's not happy? What if I'm doing the wrong things? What if I'm not doing enough? Those worrying thoughts are future-based and it takes us out of this moment. And it is a thought. And if we don't learn how to cope with the worry and the mind chatter, then those worrisome thoughts turn into anxiety because we've never dealt with them. And then that anxiety can even lead to panic attacks. So it's a vicious cycle. When you can start to become an observer of your thoughts and sit back and watch and with kindness stay curious about your thoughts and learn something new about yourself, you can start to break that habit of being stuck in overwhelming thoughts, overwhelming worry, and overall chronic stress. So if you want more practical and powerful tips, check out the free workshop and continue to listen to the A Free Spirit Life podcast, because I'll be sharing tons more self and soul care tips in every episode. So be well, my friends. Have a wonderful week. I can't wait to see you at the workshop, and I will see you on the podcast next week.
Open your heart and your soul.